What if the social media you scroll through for hours every day could make you fluent in English for free? This is the true story of how one man turned his biggest distraction into his most powerful teacher. To follow his entire step-by-step journey and transform your own learning, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss a single part of his story. He used to scroll through social media for 4, sometimes 5 hours every single day. He wasn't learning anything, he was just wasting time. He looked at memes, celebrity gossip, and funny videos that made him laugh for a moment, but taught him nothing of value. He knew deep down that he needed to learn English, but every time he tried, he felt like he failed. He bought grammar books, but he left them halfway through the pages still clean and new. He downloaded language apps onto his phone, but he uninstalled them after only 3 days. He tried to watch English videos, but the speech was too fast and he couldn't understand. And the worst part, the part that really hurt, was that he couldn't say even a simple sentence with confidence. When someone asked him, "Can you speak English?" he felt a wave of shame. He felt like a loser. It felt like he was behind everyone else his age. Job interviews scared him. The thought of them made his hands sweat. Meetings at work made him silent. He would sit there with ideas in his head, but the words would not come out. He felt small, like he didn't belong in a world that was moving so fast. But then one evening something hit him. It was a simple thought, but it was powerful. Everything in this world has good sides and bad sides, pros and cons, and that includes social media. He realized it's not about the tool itself, it's about how you choose to use it. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. They are not the enemy. They are not good or bad. They are just mirrors. They reflect your choices back at you. You can scroll for 3 hours and feel empty and sad. Or you can scroll for 3 hours and learn to speak better English. That single thought changed everything for him. He realized that English is not just a language. It's a power. It is a key that can open doors all over the world. It doesn't matter how talented you are or how smart you are. If you cannot express yourself, you will stay behind. You could be the most intelligent person in your city, but if you can't explain your wonderful ideas in English, the world will not hear you. You will miss out on job opportunities. You will avoid global conversations, and slowly, quietly, you will begin to accept a smaller version of yourself. But Alex was not born rich. He couldn't just pack his bags and move to an English-speaking country. He had no native speakers around him to practice with. So he asked himself a very important question. What do I have right now? And the answer was simple. He had a phone and internet connection, and he had time. That is when he made a promise to himself. He said, "I will not run away from social media anymore. Instead, I will turn it into my English teacher." And that is exactly what he did. Today, Alex can speak English fluently. He can express his thoughts with real clarity. He can join meetings, give interviews, and talk to people from all around the world. And this was not because he paid for expensive courses. It was because he used what he already had, social media, in a smart and focused way. So if you think that social media is just for entertainment, Alex's story will show you how he used it to change his life. Not just his English, but his confidence, his mindset, and his future. In this story, I will take you through his entire journey step by step. I will tell you exactly how he used each platform, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and even AI, to go from zero to fluent. There are no shortcuts here, no fake tips, no complicated methods. This is just his real, raw journey. If Alex could do it, a person who failed so many times, then trust me, so can you. And by the end of this story, you won't just know how to use social media to learn English. You will feel ready. You will feel clear. You will feel powerful. Because English is not just a skill, it is a lifestyle. And the world listens to those who can speak it. Let me show you how he did it, and how you can too. All right, now I will share with you the 10 real ways Alex used social media to learn English. These methods didn't come from a book or a traditional class. They came from his daily life. And today, I will tell you about the first two. These 2 steps were his foundation. They were the very first actions that pulled him out of his own darkness. The first step was this: he deleted the noise and rebuilt his feed. Let me be honest with you. Alex used to open his phone and just scroll for hours and hours. But afterward, he always felt empty. He never learned anything. He didn't grow as a person. His screen was just filled with random videos, people dancing, gossip about relationships, people showing off their money, fake drama and memes that he forgot 10 minutes later. One night, he was lying on his bed, his phone in his hand, and he suddenly felt this tightness in his chest. It was a heavy feeling. He wasn't tired from work, and he wasn't sad about anything specific. But he was just so deeply disappointed in himself. It felt like his day had been stolen from him. It felt like time was slipping through his fingers like sand, and he was doing nothing to catch it. And that night, he made a decision. A firm decision. He thought, if I open this app 100 times a day, then at least let it teach me something useful. The very next morning, he opened his Instagram and started to unfollow people. He unfollowed every page, every profile, every bit of noise that was not helping him grow. It was difficult at first. Friends who only posted selfies, gone. The video pages that just made him laugh and forget his life, gone. The news pages that were always full of fear and gossip, gone. He wasn't trying to be rude to anyone. He was just being honest with himself about his future. Then he started to rebuild his feed to build it again like it was his personal classroom. He didn't look only for educational pages. No, that would be boring. He looked for clarity, for simplicity, for beauty. He looked for real people who were using real everyday English. And suddenly his social media feed changed. It became like a river of beautiful English sentences. Simple captions, thoughtful quotes, interesting ideas, and real conversations. Let me give you a few examples that he still remembers from those early days. He read a simple post that said, "You were born to do more than just pay bills and die." He stopped scrolling. He paused. He really felt that sentence. He whispered it out loud to himself slowly and clearly. Another post he saw said, "If it costs you your peace, it's too expensive." That was a deep thought. He had never thought that the word peace could be used in that way. Then he saw another one. She believed she could. So she did. That sentence looked so simple, but it felt incredibly powerful. He repeated it to himself again and again. She believed she could, so she did. And this is what he learned from that experience. Your brain is always listening, even when you don't notice it. Every time he saw a beautiful or interesting sentence, his brain started to catch the natural rhythm of English. Not grammar rules from a book, not textbook exercises, but the real feel of the language. And because he saw those sentences over and over again every day, they became a part of his thinking. They slowly became a part of him. After just 2 weeks of seeing only clear, positive English on his feed, he noticed something amazing. He was reading faster. He was understanding things much better. And sometimes, without even realizing it, he was thinking in English. And that was a huge shift. Because once your thinking starts changing, your speaking will soon follow. His second step was this: he watched short videos or reels with subtitles. But he didn't just watch them. He studied them. Let me take you to another day in his journey. He was sitting at a small, quiet cafe. His coffee was half cold. His phone was open in his hand. And suddenly, he came across a 15-second reel. A woman was standing on a stage, speaking with passion. She was saying something like, "It doesn't matter how slowly you go, as long as you don't stop." At first, he didn't fully understand the whole sentence, so he replayed it. Then he turned on the subtitles and read the words carefully as she spoke them again. "It doesn't matter how slowly you go, as long as you don't stop." And in that moment, it just hit him. This was real English. This was real speech full of real power. It wasn't from a teacher in a classroom. It wasn't from a textbook. It came from a short, simple moment that was unforgettable. That day, he created a new rule for himself. Every short video he watched in English, he would watch it at least 3 times with the subtitles turned on. Here is what he started to do, and maybe it can help you too. First, he would find a short English video. It could be about motivation, a short story, a scene from a movie, a quote, or even a joke. He would watch it one time just to get the general idea without thinking too much. Then he would watch it again, but this time with the subtitles on. He would read every single word. He would pause the video sentence by sentence. He started to repeat the lines out loud, trying to copy the speaker's tone as if he was the one saying those words. He tried to understand the emotion behind the words. Was the person happy, sad, angry? He would think to himself, "Can I use this sentence in my real life?" And if he liked the video, he would save it in a special folder on his phone that he called Learn. Let me show you how this simple habit helped him grow. There was one video that said, "I'm tired, but I'm not quitting." When he saw it, he felt it because that was exactly how he felt. He was tired, but he was not quitting. He said that sentence out loud, maybe 10 times. "I'm tired, but I'm not quitting. I'm tired, but I'm not quitting." The next time he felt low and wanted to give up, those exact words came out of his mouth naturally in English. It wasn't because he had memorized them like a robot. It was because he had lived with them. Another video he saved said, "Your future self is watching you right now through your own eyes." He paused the video for a full 5 minutes after hearing that. It wasn't just about learning English anymore. It was about life itself. But English gave him the key to understand that powerful idea. After he cleaned his social media feed, and after he started watching and studying these short videos, something inside him began to change. He was no longer just a silent, passive learner. He started to feel like he wanted to use this language. He wanted to try even if he made mistakes. He wanted to speak. He wanted to write. He wanted to feel free. So he took the next step, and that step changed everything. And that brings me to my first question for you. Alex had this moment where he realized his phone was controlling him, making him feel empty. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever felt like time was just slipping through your hands while you were scrolling? I would love to hear about your experience in the comments below. It's a feeling many of us share, and talking about it is the first step. The third step Alex took was this: he started commenting in English every single day. Let me ask you something. Have you ever read a post or a caption on Instagram and wanted to reply, but you stopped yourself? Maybe you stopped because you were scared of making grammar mistakes. That was Alex. Every single time he wanted to write a comment, he froze. He would type a few words, then delete them. He would type again, then press the backspace button again, and then just close the app. Why? Because he thought that people would judge him. He thought they would laugh at his simple English. But one day, he read something that hit him like a clap of thunder. The quote said, "If you are not embarrassed by your first English sentence, you waited too long to start." He felt that deep in his bones. That night, he made another promise to himself. From today, he said. "I will comment in English every day. It doesn't matter how bad it is. It doesn't matter how afraid I feel. I will show up." So the next morning, he opened Instagram. He saw a motivational post that said, "Keep going one day at a time." He took a deep breath and he wrote in the comment box, "I needed this today. Thank you." That's it. Just one short, simple sentence. But the moment he clicked the post button, he felt like he had climbed a huge mountain. He was so nervous. He thought someone would make a joke or correct him rudely. But instead, the person who posted the quote replied. They wrote, "You're welcome. Stay strong." That one small kind comment gave him so much confidence, not because his English was perfect, but because he had tried. And that became his daily ritual, his daily practice. He made a rule for himself, one meaningful comment per day in English. It didn't have to be perfect. It just had to be real. Sometimes he wrote things like, "This quote really touched my heart." Other times he would write, "I'm learning English, and this video helped me a lot." And he even started asking questions like, "Can you please tell me what resilience means?" And here is what happened. Every comment he wrote became a mini practice session. He was writing without fear. He was building sentences without the pressure of a grammar test. And most importantly, he was participating. He was part of the conversation. No one teaches you this in school. Writing one real sentence in public is more powerful than reading 100 fake sentences in a textbook. Why? Because it makes you brave. It makes you feel like you are part of the global community. And it helps you understand how real people actually talk to each other. After about 30 days, he had written over 30 English comments. They were not long essays, just short, honest replies. And every single one of them made him feel a little bit stronger. So if you are watching this right now and you are thinking, "But what if I make mistakes?" Let me tell you something. Mistakes are not your enemy. Fear is your enemy. Mistakes are just teachers in disguise. But fear is a thief. It steals your progress and your dreams. So please go on. Write that comment. Even one sentence a day. Because action is what builds fluency, not perfection. Alex's fourth step was this. He changed his phone's language to English, and that rewired his brain. This step sounds very small, but it changed something deep inside him. Let me tell you a little story about it. He remembers one day he was trying to open his photo gallery, and suddenly his phone showed a message. It asked, "Allow access to media files." Before that message used to appear in his native language, and he never even thought about it. But now, when he saw it in English, he paused. "Allow access to media files." He read it slowly. He understood each word. He even said it out loud to himself, "Allow access to media files." And in that moment, he realized that his phone is not just a device. It's a school. It's a teacher that is with him all day. So he did something bold. He went into his phone's settings and he changed the entire language to English. Everything. The menus, the notifications, the settings, the gallery, the calendar, even his alarm clock. At first, he was a little scared. He thought, what if I get confused? What if I can't find anything important? But guess what? That confusion only lasted for about 2 days. After that, his eyes and his brain got trained. Every time he opened his settings, he read words like battery, notifications, permissions, storage, app info. Every time he received a message, he read new message, call declined, or mark as read. And he started learning real-life vocabulary, not from a list in a book, but from his actual life. Mute notification. He learned what that meant when he got tired of too many messages in a group chat. Snooze alarm. He saw that every morning and finally understood what it really meant. Clear cache. It sounded so technical before, but now he knows how to say it fluently. And the best part was this: he stopped translating in his head. Before he used to think in his native language and then try to translate the sentence into English. It was slow and difficult. But now, because he was seeing English everywhere all day long, his brain started to think directly in English. It was like his mind was finally breathing in this new language freely and naturally. Let me ask you something. How often do you open your phone every day? 50 times, 100 times. That means you could have 100 small English lessons every single day just by changing one setting. So here is what Alex would say. Don't just learn English live inside it. Make your phone your English teacher. Let English be the air you breathe. I know it sounds intense, but I promise you it works. That one small decision to change his phone's language made English feel like a part of his daily life. Not something he had to study, but something he was now living with. And that's how learning becomes effortless. When he started writing comments when he changed his phone's language, he wasn't just learning English anymore. He was becoming someone new. He was becoming someone who was no longer afraid. Someone who didn't wait for the perfect moment, but someone who created his own path using only what he already had. Social media didn't just teach him English. It gave him his voice. And the more he used it, the more he understood what English could truly give him: the ability to express himself, the power to connect with people from anywhere in the world, and the freedom to grow, no matter where he was. Now, the fifth step Alex took was a very big one. He started practicing speaking using stories and voice notes, even when he was completely alone. You know what's funny? The moment he started to understand English better, and the moment he started writing, a little everyone started asking him the same question. So can you speak now? And his honest answer was, not really. He had all of these words and sentences in his mind, but when he opened his mouth to speak, nothing came out. It was like his brain just forgot everything. And that's when he realized something very important. Learning English is one thing, but speaking English is a whole different battle. And that's the part that nobody really talks about. So he asked himself a big question: how do I start speaking English when I have no one to speak with? I have no teacher, no native speaker, no friend who speaks English fluently. He could have given up right there. But instead, he created his own way. And it started with one small habit that became his daily game changer. He called it the story game. Here's what he did. Every day, he chose one simple thing from his life. It could be a memory from his childhood, a task he did that day, a dream for his future, or just a thought that was in his head. And he spoke about it in English. It wasn't perfect English, of course. It was just his version. But here's the twist: he didn't just think it. He recorded himself speaking using the voice recorder app on his phone. Let me take you back to one of those very first moments. He was sitting on his bed. He had just finished his breakfast and he opened his recorder and said, "Hello, today I want to speak about the first time I cooked something alone. I was 16. My mom was not home. I was, hungry. So I tried to make an omelet, but I broke the egg wrong and the whole kitchen was messy." He was smiling as he spoke. He was even laughing at his own grammar mistakes. But for the very first time in his life, he felt his own voice speaking English. That first recording was only 1 minute long, but it gave him more progress than 1 hour of reading a book. And then it became his routine. He recorded himself talking about what he did that day. He talked about what he wanted to achieve in life or a book he had read. He talked about why he felt sad last week, or what he saw outside his window. He even recorded himself describing a dream he had. Some of his recordings were only 30 seconds long. Some were 5 minutes. And over time, he began to notice something powerful. His fear of speaking started to melt away. His words started to flow more easily. His tongue stopped freezing in his mouth. He wasn't trying to be perfect. He was just speaking freely, honestly, and boldly. Let me tell you this. You do not need a partner to start speaking English. You just need your voice and a little bit of courage to hear it. Because every voice note you record is like a mirror. You can hear your own speed. You notice your own mistakes. You catch your own habits. And you grow silently, deeply, and beautifully. Today, Alex still keeps those old recordings, and when he listens to the very first ones, he sometimes cries a little, because he can hear his progress not just in English, but in his confidence. So here is what I say to anyone who feels alone on this journey. Start speaking to your phone. Make it your best friend. Speak for just 1 minute a day. Tell it a story. Talk to your future self. Let your own voice become your classroom. You don't need applause from others. You don't need likes. You just need your own voice and the courage to use it. That was one of the biggest turning points in Alex's journey. And the 6th step was this: he created a private English world on his phone, and he visited it daily. Let me ask you a deeply honest question. When was the last time you felt like your phone was supporting your dreams, not distracting you from them? Alex asked himself that question a year ago, and his answer was, never. He used his phone every day, but it wasn't helping him. It was controlling him. So he decided, if I am going to spend hours with this device every day, then I will build a private world inside it. A world that speaks only one language, English. And that's what he did. He created a digital space, a special place inside his phone, where everything was designed to make him grow in English. Let me tell you exactly how he built it. He created a private folder on his phone and called it My English World. This folder had a notes app where he wrote one new sentence every day. It had screenshots of good English captions that he liked. It had a list of new words he heard and wanted to use later. He even saved short diary entries about his day, all written in simple English. And of course, it had all of his voice recordings from the story game. Every time he opened that folder, it felt personal. It wasn't for school. It wasn't for a teacher. It was just for him. It was his safe space, his secret world where he could make mistakes, where he could be himself, and where he could see how far he had come. He also set his phone's lock screen to an English quote. Yes, this sounds like a very small thing, but it was so powerful. Every time he picked up his phone, he saw words like, "The only way to learn a language is to live inside it," or "Say it badly, but say it anyway," or "You don't need to be perfect, you need to be consistent." These quotes reminded him of his mission. And slowly, English stopped feeling like a subject he had to study. It started feeling like a part of his life. He followed English pages on social media and turned on the notifications, but only for the ones that gave him a feeling of peace, power, and clarity. So instead of seeing stressful news on his screen, he saw words like, "You are becoming the person you were meant to be," or "Your words shape your world. Choose them well," or "Your voice matters. Say it." And he would whisper those sentences aloud. He practiced saying them with rhythm and with feeling. And that made him believe more in himself. He even made his phone's keyboard English only. This forced him to type everything in English, even his online searches, and even messages to himself. At first it slowed him down, but after a little while it became natural. He stopped switching between languages. He stopped using translation apps. He began to think in English by default. And every one of these small steps added up. This English world on his phone became his secret classroom. There were no teachers, no judgment, and no schedule. It was just him and his dream. Some days he visited his English world for just 5 minutes. On other days, he spent 30 minutes there. But every single time he opened it, he grew a little more. Step 7 was a very brave one. He joined global English groups on Facebook and started talking to strangers. By now, Alex was reading more, he was writing short things, and he was recording himself speak. He had created this safe, beautiful world for himself on his phone. But still, something was missing. He was safe, yes, but he was also alone. He realized that he had been learning English in isolation by himself. It was time to do something harder, something uncomfortable. It was time to talk to other people. Now let me be very clear. This was the scariest step for him. The idea of speaking in public, especially with strangers, felt terrifying. But deep inside, he knew this. If you only practice English with yourself, you will stay safe, but you won't grow completely. So he did something bold. One night he opened Facebook and typed into the search bar, English Learners Group. He saw hundreds of groups. Some were public, some were private. Some had 10,000 people, and some had 500,000 people. There were people from Nigeria, Brazil, Indonesia, Pakistan, the Philippines, Egypt, France, Kenya, Ukraine, Mexico, everywhere. And in that moment he realized, I am not alone on this journey. There are millions of people just like me, all learning English, struggling and trying their best. That thought made him feel so much stronger. So he joined a few of those groups. And here's what he did next, step by step. Step 1, he watched first. For the first 2 days, he just listened silently. He didn't post anything. He just watched what other people were doing. People were posting things like, can someone explain the difference between say and tell? Or, please correct this sentence for me, I am go to market yesterday. Or, hello from Morocco, I'm practicing my English. Who wants to talk? He spent 2 full days just reading the posts and the comments, and in those 2 days he learned more than he expected. He saw real mistakes that real learners make. He saw kind people helping each other and offering corrections gently. And he saw something else, nobody was perfect. And more importantly, nobody cared about perfection. People were just trying. That was enough. And that gave him the courage to try too. Step 2. He posted his first English question. Yes, he was nervous. His hands were sweating as he typed. But he posted something very simple. He wrote, Hi everyone, I'm Alex. I've been learning English alone. Can you share your favorite way to improve speaking? He thought no one would reply. But within just 10 minutes, 17 people had commented. They were from Egypt, from Sudan, from Brazil, from Turkey, from Vietnam. And every person gave him a piece of advice. One person said, talk to yourself. Another said, read English stories aloud. One girl from the Philippines said, you should try shadowing videos. But the most beautiful part was that every comment ended with words of encouragement like, don't give up, or you're doing great, or keep going, Alex. It didn't feel like a group of strangers. It felt like a family. That's when he truly realized that language is not about rules and grammar. It's about connection. It's about humans helping other humans. From that day forward, Alex became an active member of the group. He commented to help other people. He politely corrected grammar for others when they asked. He posted his own doubts and questions. He even shared short audio clips of himself saying, Hey guys, I practiced this sentence today. How's my pronunciation? And people replied. They supported him. They gave him tips. They gave him a sense of belonging. Even though he had never met these people in real life, they became his tribe. This part of Alex's story about finding a community is so important. It reminds us that we are not alone on this journey. And if this story is making you think of someone, a friend, a family member who is also learning and maybe feels a little bit lost, perhaps you could share this video with them. Sometimes just knowing that someone else understands can make all the difference. Alex's 8th step was very modern and very powerful. He used AI, or artificial intelligence, to practice conversations like having a private speaking coach. There was a time when he really wanted to quit. He was getting tired of talking only to himself. He had no one to correct him when he made a mistake, no one to reply to his questions, no one to challenge him to be better. He wished he had a teacher, but he couldn't afford one. He wished he had a practice partner, but no one around him spoke English fluently. That's when he discovered something that changed his entire game: artificial intelligence. Yes, AI. I'm not talking about science fiction movies. I'm talking about a simple tool that became his personal speaking partner, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Let me tell you exactly how he used it. Step 1, he opened a chat app like ChatGPT or others and pretended it was a person. At first, he was shy, even with an AI, but he typed, "Hello, I'm trying to improve my English. Can we chat like normal people?" And the AI instantly replied, "Of course I'd love to help. How was your day?" That simple, friendly sentence gave him so much hope. He typed back, "My day was okay. I worked, I cooked, I listened to English video." The AI replied with a very soft correction. It said, "Nice. Just a small thing. Instead of video, you can say videos, because it's more than one." Boom. A lesson. But it was a lesson without pressure, without judgment. That's when he knew this isn't just an app. This is a teacher, a mirror, and a friend. Step 2. He started to practice real-life situations like role-playing. He told the AI, "Let's pretend I'm in a job interview. You be the interviewer." And it immediately said, "Great, let's start. So tell me about yourself." Alex got nervous even though he knew it was a robot. But he typed, "My name is Alex. I'm from Germany. I love to learn and grow." The AI replied, "Nice start. You could also try saying it this way. My name is Alex and I'm from Germany. I love learning and growing." Every reply was like a mini class, but it always felt like a natural conversation. Sometimes he would ask, "Can you pretend to be a friend I'm meeting at a coffee shop?" Or, "Can you correct all my grammar mistakes like a strict teacher?" Or, "Can you ask me 5 questions about travel?" And the AI always said, "Sure, let's do it." There was no judgment, no rush, and no cost. It was just pure practice. Step 3, he used the AI to build his confidence. There were days when he felt really down, days when he felt like he was going nowhere with his English. On one of those days, he typed, "I'm feeling like I'll never be able to speak English fluently." And the AI replied, "It's completely normal to feel that way sometimes, but you have come so far already. Just keep going." And Alex actually cried a little because he didn't expect to receive comfort or motivation. But he got it from a machine. He got it from something that seemed to understand him when he needed it the most. Let me say this loud and clear. You do not need a human partner to start practicing your speaking. You need consistency, you need courage, and you need a mirror, even if that mirror is artificial. The AI became his safe place to practice, to experiment, to fail, and to grow. And it never laughed at him. It never judged him. It only guided him. Even today, he sometimes opens it and just says, "Let's talk about the meaning of failure." Or, let's have a small debate. Or, let's play a vocabulary game. The possibilities are endless, so if you have access to AI, please use it. Use it as your coach. Use it as your partner. Use it as your playground. Because every reply is a step toward fluency. Every correction is a gift. And every sentence you write is a small victory. We've talked about some very powerful steps today, from cleaning your feed to speaking with an AI coach. The final 2 steps are a little different. They are about connecting English to your deepest self. If you want to be sure you don't miss the conclusion of Alex's journey and many more stories like his, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. It means the world to us and ensures you'll be here for the next part of our story together. Now for the 9th step. This one is deep. He started writing about his life in English, and in doing so, he found the voice he never knew he had. One night, something strange and wonderful happened. He was alone in his room. The lights were off, and only the soft glow from his phone's screen lit up the darkness. He had just finished watching a very emotional video in English, and he felt something stirring inside him. It felt like a storm of 1,000 thoughts and feelings. But this time, he didn't want to record his voice. He didn't want to talk. He wanted to write. He didn't want to write for grammar practice or for marks in a test. He wanted to write and to release something that was locked deep inside his heart. So he opened a blank note on his phone and he started to type very slowly. He wrote, "Sometimes I feel like I am behind in life. Like the world is running and I am just walking with broken shoes. But today I learned a new sentence. And maybe tomorrow I will speak it to someone who needs to hear it. And that gives me peace." That was the first time in his entire life that he had written a diary entry in English, and he cried. Not because the writing was perfect, but because it was real. It was his truth. After that night, he started doing it regularly. Not every single day, but whenever he felt he needed to talk to himself to express his fears, his small wins, his confusion, or his questions. He started writing about everything. He wrote about a fight he had with his father. He wrote about his dream job. He wrote about a day when he didn't feel good enough. He wrote about a moment when he felt incredibly proud of himself. He wrote about a stranger who smiled at him on the street. All of it in English. And something magical started to happen. The more he wrote, the more he healed. The more he healed, the more he grew. And the more he grew, the more his English became his. It was not borrowed from a textbook anymore. It wasn't copied from a YouTube video. It was born from his own soul. Here is what he realized: when you write your truth in English, the language becomes your friend. It stops being a scary subject from school. It becomes your journal, your mirror, your quiet, loyal companion. And that is when he truly found his voice. Let me tell you something important. Most people think learning English is all about speaking fluently. But the deepest transformation often happens when you write with honesty. Because writing teaches you how to think clearly. And clear thinking always leads to clear speaking. My advice from Alex's journey is this: start a life journal in English. Don't worry about the spelling. Don't worry about being perfect. Just write. Write like your future self is listening to you. Because one day, you will look back at those old entries and you will realize, that was the moment. That was the moment I truly found myself. And now the final step. Number 10. He used English to inspire other people, and it gave his life a new and beautiful meaning. Now this is the part of the story that Alex never ever imagined. Because when he first started learning English, he was doing it for survival. He wanted to pass job interviews. He wanted to get a better job. He wanted to sound smart and feel confident. But something happened along the way that changed everything. He stopped learning English only for himself, and he started using it to lift other people up. Let me tell you what I mean. One day, he got a message from someone in one of the English groups he had joined. The message said, "Hi Alex, I saw your comment in the group. I'm struggling a lot too. Can we talk?" That simple message changed his life, because for the first time someone saw him not as a learner, but as a guide. They started chatting. The person told Alex how afraid they were to speak, how they would freeze when they thought people might laugh, how they tried so hard but always felt like they were behind. And Alex wrote back to them. He said, "You are not behind. You are just blooming in silence. And when your English finally blooms, it will be so beautiful because it grew from struggle." The person replied with a voice note, and they were crying. They said, "No one has ever said that to me before." And that's when Alex knew. His own pain had become his power. His own weakness had become someone else's strength. After that day, he started sharing short, encouraging posts online. Nothing fancy, just his simple thoughts. He wrote things like, "Don't wait for perfect English. Use the English you have right now. It is enough." And "Fluency comes from courage, not from grammar." And his favorite, "Your first sentence may be broken, but your message is still beautiful." He didn't expect anyone to really notice, but they did. People started messaging him. People thanked him. People told him, "Alex, because of you, I started speaking today." And that is when everything changed for him. He was no longer just a learner. He was now a giver, a helper, a small light for other people who were still in the dark. Let me say this to you, the person who is watching this video right now. English is not just a skill. It is a tool to carry your story, your message, and your purpose to the world. And the more you use it to help someone else, the stronger it becomes inside you. That is the final secret Alex discovered. When he started helping others, his own fluency became faster. His confidence became deeper, and his journey finally became meaningful. So here he is 1 year later. From a boy who scrolled through memes all day and said nothing to a man who now speaks English. Not perfectly, no, but powerfully. Because now he speaks with his heart. He speaks with his truth, and he speaks to lift others up. Let me tell you how English truly changed his life. He started getting job offers from companies in other countries. He finally passed those difficult interviews where he used to freeze. He joined international communities and made friends from 12 different countries. He even spoke on a live Zoom session in front of 100 people and didn't panic. He helped 3 other people begin their own English journeys, and they are still going. But more than all of that, he looks in the mirror now, and he likes the person he has become. Because he kept going. He kept growing, and he never, ever gave up. That is what English gave him. Not just words, not just grammar, but freedom. A new identity. A new life. So to the one watching this, if you have ever felt behind, if you have ever felt ashamed of your broken English, if you have ever felt like you will never, ever get there, let me tell you something. You will, not by magic and not by overnight success, but by taking small steps every single day. Use your phone wisely. Speak your truth, even if your voice shakes when you say it. Write down your fears in English. Help someone else learn. And never, never stop believing in yourself. Because your voice matters and the world needs to hear it. And when you speak in English, you don't just speak in a new language. You speak to the world. This was my journey, Alex would say. Not a perfect journey, but a real one. And if you walk with me step by step one day, you will look back and say, English didn't just change how I talk, it changed who I am. So my friend, if you felt something in your heart today, if this story opened your eyes to new possibilities, then please don't stop here. Start your own journey today. Use social media with purpose. Speak right and grow, even if it feels slow at first. Stop watching short videos like they are just entertainment. Start using them like they are vitamins for your brain. Don't scroll mindlessly. Scroll with intention. Study the subtitles. Repeat the rhythm of the words, feel the language, and save the videos that truly move you. If you do this for just 10 to 15 minutes every single day, you will start to recognize new expressions. You will start to hear your own voice become smoother, and your confidence will grow without pressure and without fear. Because the more you hear real, natural English, the more natural it becomes inside you. I know this is true because that is how Alex began. Because one day, your broken English will become your beautiful voice, and that voice will change your life. And that is where Alex's story for today concludes. What a journey that was from feeling lost and alone to finding his voice and helping others. I am so curious to hear your take on it all. What were your final thoughts? Do you have any lingering questions about why a character did what they did, or about one of the steps Alex took? Please leave all your opinions, theories, and questions below. I truly love reading every single comment and building this conversation with all of you. Thank you for listening. See you in the next story. And remember, your English is your power, tit.